Why didn't you make an attempt to locate it and mark it for the police like you did the ghost gun?
I stumbled across the ghost gun when I was packing. That's why I marked the box. In my mind, I had a list of things I thought the police might come back and ask me for, and I thought the ghost gun would be among them.
Do you see the irony in not being able to locate that and that being the allegation that that was the murder weapon?
You know, I see nothing ironic about this case at all. I see nothing happy about this case at all.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, this is a really, really good example of something that we talk about occasionally, Scott, where we talk about liar's loop. And the reason I say that is because when you have a trigger moment where you have to prepare something on the fly, you get in a bind and you have to quickly respond. She didn't have to do that. First of all, she's an author. Secondly, she's had a lot of time to deconflict. She's been in prison for a few months waiting for this trial. And that overly helpful nature is her spewing out information that she's prepared to give up. We'll see her change a few times in here. She chaff and redirects, but it's not just chaff and redirect. When a person chaffs and redirects, they're doing a dance. She's not dancing. She's prepared. That overly helpful is a clear red flag. And then when she starts, what's funny is she starts to add another detail at the very end there and does an inhale prep. And then she halts and shakes her head. I wonder what she was wanting to say there. When she says there's nothing happy, you see condemning, as sides of her mouth pulled back, and she's got riveted eye contact. She is a storyteller by trade, and she's going to show us that storytelling strength through here as she takes all of those deconflicts she's been working on in that liar's loop. When we say that, I attack your story, you have to deconflict it. Most of the time, we'll deconflict before we get face-to-face, and that's what she's doing. One other thing I'd say, she's got resting Hartley face. I actually like that. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. So, though she may have organized, have in her mind what she wants to say and be prepared for this, still not super comfortable. We see 6 moments that I counted of bitterness or sourness in the mouth. That's when the sides kind of come back. A little bit like that. I'm overemphasizing in her. It's a little more subtle than that. Now, is that the moment for her, or is this a baseline character? Is there just a general malaise of bitterness and sourness, or is it actually the moment is some stress and pressure for her? I'll let you decide on that. But 6 moments, it's quite a lot. Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, when she's saying I stumbled across the ghost gun and this other thing about in my mind, I had a list of the things the police would ask for. As a murder novel writer, the gun that's actually in question was apparently none of those things that she thought the police would be interested in. I think an 8-year-old would be able to know that the police might be interested in that gun if they were innocent. But throughout she said she thought the ghost gun would be among those things. There's a pause here where there's a sharp inhale occurs. You see a sharp inhale right there. She's getting ready to say something here, but something in her mind is holding her back. And do you see the irony part? She deflects with a non-answer statement. There's word repetition and also phrase repetition. And I think it's strange she would think that there's a need to clarify that she's not seeing things that are happy. Why would that need to be clarified by any human being when it comes to a murder? So what is the psychology of a person who thinks that they need to tell you they aren't happy about it? What is being covered up there? So there may be an unconscious desire to conceal that feeling, and that came out unconsciously, thinking that that was the right thing to say because that feeling might be there. Scott?
All right. I think this is a great comparative example. As we go along, we'll see her go from not being really stressed to being stressed. And this is sort of a pre-stress area for her right here, because what happens is this: she's created this story, like Greg said, she's deconflicted it, and by that we mean she's gone through and thought of all the things that could come up. What about this? When somebody asks her about the lie that she's telling, what about this part of it? Well, here's what happened there, and she's thinking about all these things she can go ahead and have answers or stories ready for, prepared for, as they begin questioning her. Now, as she goes through these, and there are questions that she wasn't prepared for, the whole thing starts to wobble a little bit and starts to break down. And this is where we're seeing the changes begin and her body language. The stability of not only her story, but of her body language breaks down. We see the movements increase as she starts scooting around, especially there at the end. She does that little scooch movement. And her patterns, we're going to see these patterns of behavior emerge. We're going to see things she does over and over and over. There are parts where we know she's telling the truth and parts where we know she's obviously not telling the truth, where she's being deceptive, where she's lying. And we'll be able to tell very easily when she's telling the truth compared to when she's not. And as we go through, we're all going to point those things out. But that's the main thing to watch. This is a great study, and seeing someone, once you know what all of her cues and tells are, and there are just about 9 of them. Once you see all those, you'll say, oh, I see that happening. So we can put this in the pile. It doesn't mean she's lying. Doesn't mean she's telling the truth. It just suggests that there's an issue there. And you put that little piece of information in your pile of, I think she's not telling the truth. I think she's being deceptive, or I think she did this crime or whatever she's been accused of.
Why didn't you make an attempt to locate it and mark it for the police like you did the ghost gun?
I stumbled across the ghost gun when I was packing. That's why I marked the box. In my mind, I had a list of things I thought the police might come back and ask me for, and I thought the ghost gun would be among them.
Do you see the irony in not being able to locate that, and that being the allegation that that was the murder weapon?
You know, I see nothing ironic about this case at all. I see nothing happy about this case at all.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.